Okay, we're on DTube Smartsnaps, and this is snap number 5. I've kind of rearranged things a little bit because I've been missing in action for a little while, and so I wanted to kind of bump this up a bit because it's been something that I've been wanting to get to for a while now, and primarily the Tino take is usually number 1 on my list, and then after that, this DTube Smartsnaps has become a favorite of mine because of everything that I'm learning about DTube and the Avalon project. And I have to modify something. In the past, I've said that I've grown fond of the platform. And in reality, because of what I'm going to be saying today, I've grown fond of the idea more so than the platform, because the platform has a lot of defects. But anyway, let's get right into this. I'm not going to concern myself with the people who may be listening on Facebook or YouTube or the other platforms. I want to get right back into my Smartcast as if I was just continuing. The only difference is now I have to concentrate and look into the camera and focus on the fact that I have a video going. So let's get right into it. It's the DTube Smart Snaps, snap number 5. And here we go. We have the economy, the social, and the leadership. Something that I believe is important for everyone to focus on if they really want to get into the DTube idea. Remember, it's the idea right now that counts the most. Now, I got my notes here. Usually I have the computer in front of me. I don't have to look into a camera. And so I just record the audio and I can look at my notes on the computer. But now I'm in front of the camera, so I got my notes here with me. And so the economy, let's start out with 2.14K, 2,140 something DTC. Gradual buildup. It's slowed down a bit. I have not had the support that I have had in the past, which is fine. When I get that support, it helps me to relax a little bit, let's say for a week, because I'm counting on myself. I'm counting on doubling these funds myself through my activity. You know, it's all a game. In fact, I have the gene codes. Today I was supposed to do the gene codes. That was next on the list. And I want to add game theory to the gene codes. Not because I have any particular knowledge on it, but because I hear so much of it being mentioned in the context of the DTube project that I have to acknowledge that it's something important. I need to learn about it. And not only that, if the idea of game theory is something that is inherent in human nature, then it belongs to the category of the gene code. So I will look into it. If it fits, then I will talk about what it is that I'm learning concerning this game theory. So I like the game part of it because it's like, we're here gaming. This is a game to me. My skills and my talents, my ability to be able to articulate myself, to be able to do this video, to be able to do the Smartcast, it's all part of the talents that we bring to this game as role players, because we're here role playing. So I'm trying to flip this DTC based on my skills, based on my ability to be able to engage in the platform. Now, whether that means participating in cronyism or going it alone, building up my own audience. However, the objective is this. You invest in something. Now, if that investment is something you just leave it sit there and it does its own thing on its own, which many people do in the crypto world, or you're investing not only your funds, but you're investing also your talent, your time, your resources. So I'm looking to see how long it's going to take for me to flip my money, right? Flip what it is that I put in. I put in 1,500 and I'm looking to go to 3,000. When we get to 3,000, then I make another decision whether or not I want to double that or not. Let's look at the voting power, 1.16 million. See, I have to do these points now because it's the progress is slow. So I don't want to be here every single smart snap saying I have 2.1K DTC and as if there is no growth. So I'm extending the decimal point out. Now, as far as the voting power is concerned, I'm okay with the fact that it's slowed down because it means a lot of it is being invested into voting on others, commenting, and gaining DTC, because that's the main objective of the game, and the main purpose of voting power is to get more DTC and get you into the trending if you're able. Now, much like Steemit, the trending page is practically worthless. There's no real value. I've been in the trending page thanks to the wonderful votes that I've received from people who have a heavy account. I've been in the trending page. It has not mattered anything. It has my resulting in the trending page has not counted in new subscribers, no comments being left, no extra votes being given. So the trending page is really, for me, the trending page is where the DTube club kind of gives themselves the idea that something great is happening with their video. Whoever's following you, whether you have 5 million voting power VP and you're up in the trending page, whether you're in the trending page or not, doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. It really doesn't have any value right now because we are a very closed group. We are a very closed group within the DTube environment. So I'm not concerned with voting power getting me into the trending because it's not going to matter. It's not going to give me, it doesn't bring me any fruits. So the real purpose of the voting power for me is to help other people gain DTC and help me gain DTC. I will say this, however, while I'm on the subject. I do believe that there is, I believe in the idea of selling voting power. I think if there's some change that could be made, an interesting change, to create an internal market, much like what you have on Steam and Hive, where you have an internal market where you can exchange the Hive dollar or the Steam dollar for Steam. I think it would be very interesting to see voting power in some kind of internal market where you can just, put your voting power up for sale and see if there's anybody willing to buy it. I think it would have a value in exchanging for DTC. Obviously, because the more voting power you have, the more DTC you can gain. Or for those of you who are actually interested in the trending page and think something actually can come of you being in the trending page, well, you can get it for that reason as well. Anyway, that's just an off note, an idea of that. Upvote stays at 1%. I'm not going to discuss it. I've discussed it in the former Smartsnaps. If you want to know about the 1% idea, you can go ahead and check out those. Until it changes, there's nothing for me to reiterate. Although I may spend a minute on this just in a moment. Okay, DTube, the token. 100 Satoshis. Yeah. Last time it was 200 Satoshis, and I was talking about how I was going to raise it. But from the last Smart Snap till now, something very interesting happened. We had a dump. Where, I went into Economy to check on things, check on the price, check on my tokens, check on my orders. And I find that I have, more than 2,000. I have more than 2,000 DTube coins. I mean, somebody bought those coins. And sorry, I'm sweating here. It's very hot in here. Somebody dumped their coins. I had not expected that. Although now things are different. And when I went to go look into the situation, like I went to Discord and people were asking, hey, what's going on? The DTube coin has dropped down. Somebody actually said that it had to do with BNB and Ethereum going down in price. But trust me, you don't go from nearly 400 Satoshi down to 12 Satoshi because Binance Coin or Ethereum has dipped. No, this was a dump. And it's very simple to see. All you have to do is go to the Economy account, see who's withdrawn, and somebody withdrew. A content creator who has not really posted anything up in about, 6 months. And that content creator had no regard for the value of DTC, the value of the DTube coin. He just dumped whatever he had at whatever price. I mean, to the point where he was willing to accept 12 Satoshis for the remainder of he dumped like 8,000 plus. Now, 8,000 plus, I mean, he just completely cleared out what I had. And had I left it at 100, if it were 100 Satoshis, that would have been all bought up as well. So that made me reflect. You know, the denialism leads me to think that, you know, people aren't really ready to handle the truth about the value of the DTube token. You know, I don't look at the value of the DTube token based on what it costs in order for you to buy it. Remember, there's an internal value and there's an external value. There are those who want to get into the game, okay, and there's a price for them. But there's those who have the actual token. Now look, if I have an object in my life, right, it's mine, it's in my hands, okay, the value of that object is not how much I can buy another one, it's how much I can sell this one. So the real value of the DTube token is based on how much Bitcoin is available, how much Ethereum or Binance or whatever it is that you can sell your DTube coin for. That's the real value. So I don't look at the top, although we would like to fool ourselves. We would like to kid ourselves. We would like to feel good about, yes, I have 1,000 DTC. It's valued at 20 cents. And so here's the fine. No, that's not how it works. The real value of if you're a DTuber and you're in the DTube system, the value of your tokens is based on what it is that you can sell it for. And at the moment, I think the last I just checked about a half an hour ago, it's about 225 Satoshis because somebody did some selling off. So that's the real value. So I had to think to myself, okay, what value do I want to put? You know, I keep increasing each week. I invest in Economy, and I've created the logic for myself that I'm leaving that investment there to see how long it takes for me to get my DTC within the platform doubled, right? And then I decide whether I'm going to go for another doubling, which I probably will. More than likely I will. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, if I keep investing in the idea that the value of the DTube token should go up, okay, then what is that based on? What's the basis of that? Is the platform getting better? Is the value of the DTube token getting better? No. I've sat and I thought about, because look, when that dump happened, all of my Bitcoin got bought. All of my Bitcoin went into buying DTube. So I ended up with a whole bunch of DTube coins. Say, okay, what the hell do I do with this DTube? Right? I'm not bringing it into the platform because it's not time to reinvest. I'll reinvest once I hit 3,000 within the platform. In the meantime, that just sits there. But here I had these 2,000 plus DTube tokens. I said, what do? Well, I sell them. You know, they got bought up for 200 Satoshis a piece, right? So I bought up everything that was above 200 Satoshis a piece. Now the idea was to go and put back into 200, but then I started to reason with myself and I said, well, what's going on here? First of all, this guy goes in and dumps. Now, here's the question. Here's a question that's been on my mind ever since this has happened. What if we take the top 100 stakeholders in DTube coins, and let's look at those 100 top stakeholders, and let's ask ourselves the question, how many of those top 100 stakeholders have been inactive for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? Okay? This is not the first time. In the last couple of months, this is the second time that somebody has done a major dump, causing the price to really crash down into the low Satoshis. 12 Satoshi. I actually saw in Economy for like 3 days, it remained at 12 Satoshis. It stayed there at 12 Satoshis. I think no one was willing to touch it, not even Economy. It didn't go up above 12 Satoshis until I intervened. So I'm seeing something interesting going on here. So I'm asking myself the question, how many of the top 100 stakeholders in the DTube coin are inactive and are perhaps considering, seeing that the market for other cryptocurrencies is going to explode? You know, they may no longer see, if they're not participating in the platform, they're not seeing an investment opportunity in the raising, because you know, the DTube market is dead. Compared to other markets, there is hardly any movement. So what am I thinking now? I'm thinking about a list of the top 100 stakeholders and looking at who's been inactive for how long, and considering, will this person dump? Will this person eventually dump? So factor that in, because I said if they dump, they might go down to 100 Satoshis and they can go buy up my Satoshis. Hey, this is advice for you. Put your Bitcoin into the low portion. Somebody tried to put 101 Satoshis. What you thought, you might have thought that I was going to put 102? No, I'm leaving mine at 100. Somebody else is going to come and dump. And above what I have as 100 Satoshis, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. About 1,500 tokens and my tokens start to get sold. So factor that in economically, financially as a strategy. Then factor in this other idea that I just mentioned. Okay, DTube, you invest your cryptocurrency. I invest my Bitcoin into DTube. Okay. And obviously, I'm looking to see what I can get out of it. So I'm asking myself, okay, do I raise the value of my DTube coin or do I lower the value of my DTube coin? Because as I said, I was going to put back into 200 Satoshis, but then I decided, no, I'm going for 100 Satoshis. One, because I think more dumps are coming. Two, because there are so many defects in the platform. Okay, you can invest in an idea, fine. But if you're investing in the platform and you're seeing that the platform is not improving, we got all kind of problems. There was a switch recently that's broken all kinds of links, and and I've gone back into my Facebook page, and all those links are broken, and there's so many problems. There's so many defects. One has to say, okay, why invest more? Why sit here and believe? I don't want to believe that DTube has improved ever since I've invested. I've seen quite the opposite. I'm seeing quite the opposite. So the value of something is determined upon its ability to be valued. If a service improves, then that service can say, hey, we've improved our service, so let's up the value of our token. That's not happening. I'm seeing DTube deteriorating. And I'm not the only one who's seeing it. I've said this in the past. It does not take long for somebody to come in. Let's take, for example, because we have the social and we have the leadership coming up, right? And in both of these categories, we have Dev Deck Arcane 94, right? Dev Deck Arcane came in a couple of months ago. He doesn't come from Steam. He doesn't come from Hive. And he's a programmer. How long did it take for him, who doesn't know anything about Steam, doesn't know anything about Hive, doesn't come from those backgrounds? He comes in as an individual who is interested in the DTube project, in the Avalon project. How long did it take for him to realize how many defects there are? How long did it take for him to realize that there's crony capitalism? How long did it take for him to realize that there's doublespeak, there's hypocrisy? How long did it take for him to realize that everything that people are trying to say about DTube is quite the opposite? Censorship resistant? No. Democracy? No. Decentralization? Absolutely not. And this brings me to another aspect of this that I wanted to cover. For those like Deckard who don't know about the Steam Hive history, before DTube was on its own with the Avalon, it was part of the Steam blockchain. And that's when I got into it, or that's when I learned about it. And in fact, no, that's when I got into it because they were preparing for the Avalon. But what happened was, with the split between Steam and Hive, and I have my right to my own opinion, and that's what I'm going to express. Because I believe that DTube right now is under the control of the Hive group. It is mostly oriented towards the Hive group, and it's the Hive group that determines where it's going to go, determines what it's going to do. And it has that same mentality. Now, what I find interesting is that when that split happened, I learned all about there was supposed to be some ninja mining. That never happened. There's supposed to be this and that. It was supposed to be a whole lot of things. Ned Scott, who was the president of Steemit, who then passed it on to Justin Sun, he was supposed to maintain certain promises. I wasn't involved in hearing about any of those promises, but I can understand, he was the major, he had in his hands the ownership of Steemit.com, even though you can call it what you want. You can call it open source all you want. the ownership of Steemit.com is in private hands. It was in the hands of an individual, Ned Scott, as were the top accounts, which everyone lamented about, saying, don't use them for voting witnesses, don't use this, don't use it for voting anyone, for downvoting, don't use, because we're supposed to be decentralized. There's supposed to be no central power. Okay, so Ned Scott then at some point got tired of whatever happened with the I call it the takeover of the top witness category by a group of people who pretend to be into decentralization, but were only there looking for ways to centralize power into the hands of about 20 people, because that's very easy if you think about it. And when they were finally in control of things to the point where they could actually threaten, they can actually let you know, you try to do certain things, we will block and freeze account. I am 100% convinced that the now Hive group, the ones who froze the account, which became Justin Sun's account, they knew that could be done. And it is my belief that they threatened Ned Scott with that possibility. And so Ned Scott didn't really know how to handle the situation. And he slithered his way out so as to not have to maintain his promises and to kind of say, okay, I'm going to give this to somebody else. This is going to be somebody else's headache. It's not going to be my headache. They knew that accounts could be frozen. Just as they can now, whether it's DTube, Hive, or Steem, your accounts are not safe. Your funds are not safe. If you want to believe in that, listen, people, the worst thing to invest in is ideology. Investing in any ideology is a bad investment. Bad investment. So here's the irony now. The irony now is that Hyman Danger, who is the founder of DTube and who I have a whole lot of respect for. The man, as far as I'm concerned, the man's a genius. And what he's been able to put together with the Avalon, connected with it, it's just, he's taken the Steem delegated proof of stake idea and he's revamped it. And just for that alone, he deserves to be honored in history for this accomplishment. However, in my opinion, not character-based. Hyman Danger is the new Ned Scott. Okay? Not because of character. I'm not looking at character for character, personality for personality. Hyman Danger owns the DTube website. Hyman Danger is in control of more than about 50% of the DTube supply. And the DTube votes on people. DTube can vote on leaders. Okay? Everything that was wrong about what Ned Scott was not supposed to do and what Justin Sun was not supposed to do, all of that now exists within DTube. Okay? There's no decentralized anything here. There's no democratic anything here. And there's no censorship resistance here at all. You can kid yourself because IPFS, this and that. Censorship exists in different forms. All of these, the people who are censoring, it's soft censorship. If you're downvoting RT International because of their political views and you're doing it because you want to avoid that it gets into a trending page and avoid it getting into the site of other people, that's soft censorship. It's censorship nonetheless. Google does the same thing. If Google doesn't like your material, when somebody does a search, okay, if the results for your search should be on the front page, they're going to make sure that the results end up on page 15 where nobody's ever going to see them. That's censorship, whether you like it or not. Okay, so now we have this situation where people are lamenting about DTube, Avalon. They want to see revolution. They want to see reform. They want to see change. It's not going to happen. So you either play the game as is until the leadership. Because think about this: in a decentralized system, how can you determine leadership? If you're supposed to be decentralized, why would you have 15 leaders? Why would you even use the name leader? Why would you even Yeah, why would you even use the word leadership? Leadership belongs to centralization. Leadership belongs to centralized entities. Okay? So there's a clue there for those of you who believe that we're in a decentralized system. No, the leaders will determine the future of the game. So at the moment, the game is whatever they determine that it is, and you got to find a way to play within the game until you find out, until I am an absolute loser, until I get crushed by the other players, because we're all players in this. And the odds are really against me. But I've said it before, so long as I'm having fun, I continue. So I've gone into a whole bunch. I've grabbed a whole bunch of time now, and it's crazy because now I have to be really careful because the file size of these audios, I'm up to 26 minutes now, and the file size. Speaking of file size, let's look. Social Willjaman76, big shout out. You can check out the old Smart Snaps because it hasn't really changed much. Dev Decker Kane 94, he's still on my list of people that I'm following. 80 Torrent, definitely still following. Does amazing videos. He's an excellent, very articulate speaker, and he's very knowledgeable. He's very knowledgeable about all these things. We had a little bit of a tit for tat because I'm not a Steam shill, okay. He's a high fan, so I can understand if it touches a little bit of a nerve. If we start talking about Hive, what can I do? So I thought he was going to disappear on me, but he didn't. So I'm happy about that. Got some nice comments from him. We're going to going back and forth with the comments. So I'm cool with that because I like him. I like him as a content creator, and I've said it in the past. And then, of course, you have RT International. I've actually gone into my settings. I've removed the blurred, okay? I've realized that the blurring of videos who have been downvoted is worthless. The not safe for work, cool. I don't want to see pornography. I don't want to see violence. I don't want to see that kind of stuff. But the idea that videos can be blurred because they've been downvoted, I don't want to see all of RT International does good work. Whether I agree with their content or not, they do good work. They're good content creators, right? And so this soft censorship, I decided I go into settings because for me, the downvote should actually just be removed. It's worthless. It's proven to be worthless on Steemit. It's proven to be worthless on Hive. It's proven to be worthless on DTube. It really has no value. DTube is the worst because you can actually gain tokens by downvoting other people because you disagree with them politically, even though you're into decentralization. Please. I've already taken up enough time. I don't want to go into this anymore. TechCoder X is still on the top of the list, as well as Dev Decker Kane as far as leadership is concerned. Ionomy Code, because they provide the service. Xnilio, I haven't heard from them in a while. I still get some blessings from them on Steemit because I vote for them. Every once in a while they vote for me on DTube, but I haven't heard from them lately. But TechCoder X, now that I have video and these files, I have to go into the One Love uploader and I have to get me more tokens. The One Love uploader has gigabyte days as a kind of internal token, which allows you to have your videos be hosted at 1 gigabyte per day at a certain value. It's really inexpensive. I've said this before, people. If you're having problems with the uploader, the normal uploader, if you don't want to be involved in YouTube, if you want to have your videos really be hosted well on the DTube platform or whatever platforms come afterwards, because now we have the release of DTube Go, which I'm not going to be, I hope we don't have a game going on here where, slowly we have the DTube platform deteriorate, continuously be deteriorated so that we can kind of push everybody into DTube Go, because I'm sorry, I don't trust Tib Fox. Tib Fox publicly announced that he's not into professionalism, and you got these stupid ideas. You have this childish idea of, in order to be professional, you have to have a suit and tie and you have to be in some big corporate building. I'm not in a suit and tie, but I'm professional. So if you're not willing to be professional or take on a professional attitude, I'm not going to trust your platform. So if this becomes a game where everybody, because this is all focusing around a small group of people and everyone's going to go, in one direction. If the DTube platform continues to deteriorate and the only thing we have is DTube Go, I mean, come on, people. Are we going to have really decentralization with multiple front ends? Because otherwise, crony capitalism is still the way in which we continue to go. But anyway, having said that, I have to up my gigabyte per days because obviously these videos are going to be heavy, and I'm going to need, more of those tokens in order to be able to host these up on DTube. I actually have a whole lot more to say, but half an hour is enough. Half an hour is enough. The DTube Smartsnaps will be back around again, and we'll be snapping on some other issue in the near future. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the support. We'll catch up soon.